We are on the line this morning with State Senator Joe Pittman. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Senator, good morning.
Todd, good morning.
It's good to have you with us here today. Unfortunately, the topic isn't the best in the world. The governor yesterday vetoing 3 bills that would really help our county governments and really open things up again in Pennsylvania. Just your reaction to these 3 bills and what they would have done and to the governors having vetoed them.
Well, it was disappointing, but it wasn't surprising. The governor indicated that he would veto these bills. My hope was that because they were gaining bipartisan support, that he would see and recognize that it's time to safely and smartly reopen our economy. This isn't a partisan issue. And in fact, I've noted some of the comments of Dr. Cyril Wecht. I've noted the comments of Rich Fitzgerald, the county executive in Allegheny County, who's saying we've got to get to a process of smartly reopening. What I found was interesting, even though he vetoed the real estate legislation, which had a 2/3 veto-proof majority in the chambers, he vetoed it, yet he, by executive order, opened real estate. So I guess he couldn't bring himself to actually sign the legislation. As you know, pride is one of the 7 deadly sins. So if he had to do it by executive order, so be it, just so it got done.
Yeah. Well, of course, we have Dr. Wecht on the air with us tomorrow. It'll be an interesting conversation as we get into the medical end of this. And one of the interesting things to me about it is while some of those bills that he dealt with yesterday and some of the topics within them are kind of fuzzy because going to yellow, a lot of those businesses are able to open at least on a limited basis. Senate Bill 327 is 327. That's the one that lets counties decide to reopen safely. The idea of local control is really big all across the state right now, and that's the one that's really rankling a lot of people.
It is. Now, keep in mind that was, counties to yellow is the way we refined that legislation, so it didn't necessarily have an immediate impact in our communities. But there are a lot of counties, there are still 18 counties in the Commonwealth that are red, that equate to half the population. So half of our population is still under a stay-at-home order. And that would have given those counties in particular flexibility to reopen. But the other bills were much more applicable to our area. We were attempting to deal with things like messenger services, obviously real estate, barbershops, things of that nature, things that, can be clearly done in a socially distant and responsible manner. Barbershops on Philadelphia Street, one at a time, can I'm sure, manage their clientele and their customer base without causing any issues.
Yeah, one of the big things about it is that people really do seem to be taking very seriously as business owners their responsibilities in keeping everybody as safe as they possibly can, and they're ready to do this. It's just they cannot get the go-ahead from the governor, and I know that's disappointing.
It is disappointing, and I think that's an underwriting point. We're not forcing anybody to open their operation. We're not forcing anybody to patronize any place that they don't feel comfortable going. As I've said before, over the last 7 weeks, we have clearly come to understand the vulnerable populations among us. And we know that by the data. We know that by the facts. We know who is vulnerable. And those are the folks that we need to be sensitive to and take care of. But we have a whole nother dynamic, and I look at what our young people are going through right now, and I've talked to child care providers, I've talked to individuals who try and prepare for preschool in the fall, trying to understand how we get to a new normal or a normal this fall with getting our kids back to school, getting our families back to work. And that's a very important aspect of this that I think we need to start focusing on very quickly.
You're absolutely right. Okay, so I want to ask you, as long as I have you on the air, Representative Struzzi and his bill advancing its way through the House and working into one of the committees right now. and the Citizens Advisory Council to DEP with a very key vote having to do with the RGGI regulations yesterday, which I know must give you quite a good feeling to know that there are people who are listening now in Harrisburg.
Jim has done a great job on this issue, and you're right. The two advisory councils to DEP have both rejected this. The reality is this is not ready for prime time. The governor has not explained to our communities how we're going to recover from the economic devastation that would occur through RGGI. There's no doubt that the coal-fired power plants in the marketplace are at a competitive disadvantage already. And nothing is forever, as I've said before. But RGGI will accelerate any closures that may occur. It will give us no opportunity to adjust and adapt in our economy. And what really is striking to me is public testimony. There was about 3 hours of public testimony, and I gave public testimony as well. But all of a sudden, we're now hearing from the nuclear industry that thinks this is a good idea. The reality is the nuclear industry wants our coal-fired power plants out of business because that helps them. That helps them in the marketplace. And so the environmental groups that think that this is an effort to sincerely improve our climate, the reality is they're being used by the nuclear industry. This is nothing more than a backdoor nuclear bailout.
Yeah, and that's an interesting new angle to all of this. I think for me, though, the overriding aspect of it all, and it has to do with COVID-19 and our state's reaction to it, as well as to RGGI, is that any process in Harrisburg which elevates one particular aspect of the three branches over the others and cuts one of those branches out is a bad idea. And it's not the way the state constitution is written. It's not the way that it should be.
I agree, and I think we are left with exploring avenues to amend our state constitution to try to bring the co-equal back into the branches of government, because right now we are not a co-equal branch of government. Yeah. And that has become very clear throughout these past 9 weeks.
All right, so just a one more moment here with Senator Joe Pittman this morning. What's next in Harrisburg for you and your Senate colleagues?
Well, we're going to return to session, I believe, next week. We have hearings. Actually, we have a hearing today with the Secretary of Corrections to try to understand the logic behind the early release program for inmates. We're talking very seriously about what we can do to give us a bridge when it comes to our budgeting. Obviously, under normal circumstances, we have to have a budget in place by July 1. It's almost impossible to do that in any legitimate fashion because of the way revenues have been turned upside down. So I think we're going to try to have a conversation about what kind of bridge we can put in place until we see how things settle down in the coming months.
Very good. Senator, thanks for carving out some time for us this morning. I know it's not easy to find those kinds of minutes to spare.
Timing's everything, Todd. It was no problem.
Have a great day.
All right, you too, buddy. See ya.
Senator Joe Pittman with us here this morning on the Voice of Indiana County, WCCS AM 1160 and 101.1 FM.